Yeah, it's live.
Good.
Yeah, it's live, dude.
All right.
So what's going on?
Same thing. Like I told you, like how I just had to like go back in and just start like lifting again. Like today felt like nothing, and that's just what's like freaking me out the most. It's just like the weight. The more I go up, it just doesn't feel like anything. But I know, like, because I was injured like back in 2018 shit. I just know like I'm teetering on that side of like the ceiling, but it's like physically I don't feel it. Mentally, I'm like, you know, watch out. Like, I
Feel
think
like you're
you're
nearing the
there.
edge,
Yeah.
the edge of
And
the
that's,
earth.
well, yeah.
Yeah, edge of
Metaphorically.
mortality.
No, not that deep.
Not
Right?
that deep.
No. Identity, maybe.
Ugh, that's deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Because it's
deeper.
like, yeah, am I really that thing? That's what I'm testing every day. And
Are
then
you
one day
really
could,
that thing?
yeah, I think I am.
What's the thing that you think you are?
I don't know. Strong motherfucker. Like, I don't know. Like, it's mean, you know, solid.
Mean, solid.
Yeah.
Well, if you were
Like
putting
pound for
if you were
pound.
putting together that character on a video game, what would it be?
I mean, I don't know the video games like that with the
Neither
characters.
do I, but
Yeah, I don't know. I'll just
your
say
own
like
video game.
I'll just say like a Bruce Lee type, but like Brad Pitt from The Fighter or Snatch. That's like the embodiment I would like. It's just lean, and every muscle on you has a purpose for it. It's just like you're using them. Like, yeah, like you
Every
have
muscle
a
has a
full body
purpose.
awareness and control.
Okay.
That's what I aspire. Like I don't really care about mass and size too much.
You're the master of your domain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like I think calisthenics, because that's kind of what that would lead to. It's just kind of I don't know. I look at that and I just don't see it being.
Pussy shit.
Yeah,
It's okay. I'll say it.
all right, good. You said it,
Yeah.
but yeah, because it's like some of it's cool. You know, I remember back in college, this kid was super inclined in it, and like one day I was injured, right? And after I got injured, I just started kind of messing around with some stuff like I normally do, such as normal shit.
Like pills
And
and shit.
huh?
No. Go ahead.
That's an alley we could go down. But nah, we were just doing shit at the pool that was like calisthenics. Like it was something where like you went into like a
Like a diving board.
no, like you
Okay.
know, just like the steps to get out of the pool, and it has those silver things that kind of come out a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a
See,
little. It's like a little ladder like this. It's like
it's like a pea kind of shape.
yeah.
Yeah. And so like what he was doing was he was getting in like a 90-degree bend with his elbows, but then keeping his planking kind of
Okay.
straight.
Yeah.
And I just hopped on, did it, and he was just like, I don't know. It took him a second. He was just like couldn't understand how I could just do that. And it's just like Olympic weightlifting does so much that people don't think it does.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I don't know. I do think it's the way people train it though too, because it's like people always say like don't expect to look like a Greek god or something by training it, but it's like you absolutely could.
Well,
You
there's a lot of
absolutely
things that
could.
go into it, right? Um,
I just
well,
think
hold on. Let me.
I
I
am
think that
emotional.
I think that yeah, you're right. You could be, but it's a life of athleticism, right? If you've been active your whole life and you've never been overweight, you've always strength trained to some extent, right?
Yeah,
You have a strong core, and so you're in a better position to sure you're not training for hypertrophy, but it doesn't mean you can't have it, you know.
for sure. But that's what I think they're neglecting entirely. Like if you go to the Olympic weightlifting gym, bro, it's not set up to have any type of isolation accessory work besides resistance bands. You know, you could make shift some stuff, and um, you know you can get by. There is enough, but it's like it's much nicer to have stuff like just I don't know. For instance, just a dip machine. I don't know, like just certain things are just nice to hit at
Mm-hmm.
moderate weight over and over, just get blood and like that motion down. Like I don't know. I also think it increases the mobility you have in that area if you're not doing it constantly with heavy ass weight. If you just break it down to like moderate, it's still like strenuous, like 12, 15 max reps you're getting. But
But you see, you came from that background a little bit, right?
Yeah, and that's why I don't like. It seems like they're indoctrinated into the Olympic way of thinking.
Right, but
Each
if
field, I
somebody
feel like,
jumped
gives to a
into
degree
Olympic weightlifting later, right? Maybe they were just a fat fuck all
from
their life,
nothing in the background.
right? And they
Oh, okay.
just played video games and shit their whole life. Maybe they played soccer when they were like 12,
Yeah.
and then they
So they
fucked
have
off
a
it. And
somewhat
then
like
then they get into
good muscle
Olympic.
memory and things.
Not really.
Oh no,
No. No, they're a
average Joe.
potato. Yeah.
Right.
And
Potato.
then they got introduced to Olympic weightlifting. Then they're coming at it from a different angle than you, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you're right. Like it would be better. One thing that I noticed, like with mind muscle connection, I've trained a lot of people, like trained with a lot of people. And some guys, like they're not unathletic, but I would show them a movement and they couldn't really, it would take them months to like connect with it. I remember one guy specifically who was you know, a black belt and he had done martial arts his whole life.
Yeah.
You would show him one thing and right
Yeah.
away, because he
I
had,
think it's movement through space,
it was
being able
movement
to
through space
controlling your
and like
body.
body awareness
Yeah.
and knowing how to connect with your body. And so something like martial arts, or if you had
Any
trained.
reflexive like sport like
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yep.
it's like an umbrella. A few, not like many, not all. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Hmm. So what else is wrong with Olympic weightlifting? uh
I don't know. I wouldn't say anything's wrong with it. It is what it is. I think it could be something else, and the thing it could be is cool.
the thing it could be is cooler
Yeah,
than what it is.
I think so.
It has potential to be better.
Yeah, more audience appeal,
Yeah.
less like I don't know, prestigious ranking. I guess you could say, right?
Okay.
Like, well, the politics, hopefully, and you say that, but how could you really get rid of
You
politics?
can't.
Exactly. It's like hopefully a politic free as much as we could. So I don't know. I'm still trying to think about it. It's so obscure, and like the last time I did try to do something about it was when I was at that gym. I was like strictly for powerlifting and weightlifting, and it was just met with such a negative response. And so like I don't really know who the community. It doesn't seem like that community is who I should be trying to appeal to at this point. Um,
Well, that's a very
but I think
small
people.
pond.
What's up?
That's a very small pond, right?
It's a small pond, but I think people have an obscure idea of what Olympic weightlifting is because of the Olympic before weightlifting. It's like people were just thinking about it as weightlifting, and like, I don't know, it could because I never had an idea of that, like of competing. Where I think a lot of people's initial thought is competition, being on a team, all that stuff, and it's like I just wanted to lift stuff, like I think the passion of that's a little different than like that's why I'm like, because of I guess I've gotten some sort of attention. It's like, oh, I think maybe I should compete. Maybe that would like gain my following and notoriety. But then it's like my whole thing has been about. It's just like, what's the point of competing? It's like it's not even about that. It was about me. And then like after I came back strength wise from when I was injured, it was like where now? Well, now where am I trying to go? And it's like I have certain numbers in mind that I am trying to hit, and then I think I'm kind of cool with it. It's like I don't have this undying urge to do something, but I do feel like I was meant to like exemplify something through the way I move weight, and I think I can. So I think I should, and I feel like that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's an art form more than it is a, you know, I really do.
Right.
Yeah. But it depends on how people move the barbell. Olympic weightlifting right now is not necessarily an art form. It can be
Right.
done artistically, but it's like most of the time through the way the body is moved and when like I don't know,
Too rigid.
rigid and you can see thought behind their action. And yeah, it's not just
Here, go like this.
instinctive.
Go like this real quick. The light's out. Fuck, dude.
Nothing's been recorded.
Let me see that thing. Did it turn off? What needs to change with Olympic weightlifting to make it cooler and appeal to a better audience?
Mm. I think
You could change three things.
I would disconnect it from CrossFit. Um, I would not have people get taught those movements at CrossFit. Olympic weightlifting, it's a separate entity. It should be separated from CrossFit. I believe it's like it should be treated as a separate entity.
I think it's muddying the waters a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know.
Are people from CrossFit basically like false prophets?
False prophets is a wild word to use. I don't know what to say about that. No, I've seen some lift pretty nice numbers. Some are ex like Olympic weightlifters too. So it's like no, some know what they're doing and they can move weight. So something
They're
like
just
that.
lost, is what you're saying.
As a system, from what I've seen, it's not the best place to learn. That's all. That's all I mean. That's it. In other words, like I don't know. I don't think rank. Excuse me. I don't think rank or status should solely be placed on championships at tournaments. There's so much going on politically and with doping and just like it is not a level playing field by any means, and so I don't see why we're taking any merit from these championships that are occurring right now because in 2 or 4 years there's going to be tests again from previous samples for a substance that hasn't been developed yet but is going to be developed, and then they're going to test it, and then it's going to be different rankings. And so I don't know, I just look at it as like who's putting in daily work and just practicing the craft of the two movements for the sole purpose of practicing the two movements. I give more credence, I think, to those people than I do any kind of world champion, obviously, besides a couple I look up to, I guess.
Do you think that doping is poor sportsmanship?
No, but I just don't think there should be any hoops you have to jump around to, to prove that you're clean if you are doping, because I feel that, yeah.
Like the ends justify the means?
I just find that everybody's probably doping, man. I don't know. That's just how I look at it. Like, I don't put it past anybody. I feel like a lot of these countries at a young age are starting them off on certain compounds. And so, like, what we're looking at is not a regular individual that's just working a 9 to 5. We're looking at almost like a science experiment that's been developed over the past decade to do this sole thing. And it's like that's not that interesting. It is in terms of being a spectacle and seeing some massive weight be lifted, very technically sound, but it's just I don't really respect that part of it too much, where I think that's where a lot of the sport is. That's really all the sport is at this time right now, and that's why I think needs to change. There needs to be some sort of like X Games like factor to it made, like just something to, yeah, to like get people who are really working like workhorses a chance to like just show that and be rewarded for that. I don't know. I just think that could open up the sport to a wider audience depending on how it's um, conceived, I guess.
But let me ask you this. So you said X Games. Now, X Games is a massive deal now. So kids start doing all that shit really young too. So if that becomes a thing, what's going to stop people from taking the same angle for something that's maybe just a little more non-conventional?
Same practices, you mean?
Yeah, like you were talking about how people are almost recruited young,
Okay.
and they're like kind of thrown into it, right? It's like someone else's vision for their life, right? It's not their expression necessarily.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Like they've just been
pressed upon
developed.
them.
Yeah.
Maybe they're put on certain PEDs, whatever it is, right?
I
That's their
believe
life.
the way I think it would be conducted would be a way to like, I think you could, not to like reference this too much, but like the way, I guess the Marines would do it. It's like, I guess if you were to develop some system where it's like you would break someone down. because it's like if you notice a lot of the way Olympic weightlifters train, they give minute, 3 minutes, they give maximum rest in between reps so that they're 100% energized. And I think if you really broke someone down where it was just like grit that was getting them that rep, you would be able to separate the people who were there for being there and the ones that were there because that's what they were supposed to be doing.
So almost a different sport.
Yes, correct. Like that's why I said kind of the X Games element because it wouldn't be maximum weight lifted one rep in this sort of system of the current.
Doesn't that sound a lot more like CrossFit?
No, it
I
doesn't.
think we've come full circle.
I mean, we have because that's probably how the person who developed CrossFit developed it, but that's not where my vision is leading by any means.
You sound like you might be a false prophet.
No, no, not at all. Not at all.
So, all right. So, X Games. And I know you say things about how you want it to embody artistic expression.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this might be make it like too exclusive or too few of a demographic, but I would love some sort of I hate the word evaluation, but yeah, assessment. I don't know. Um, Entering contest where whoever is a performing weightlifter also has to create a piece of art as well. Um, no explanation of that piece of art is necessary, but I would say like the dimensions of the canvas or whatever medium is being used, it would be some sort of regulation like that. Um, I like that idea a lot.
So, let me pause you there. So, art is very subjective, right?
Yeah.
So,
Art
the
really isn't really a ranking. It's really just about the submission of it and the ability to make a painting.
right, but my point
That's it.
is that art nowadays could be someone throwing up on a canvas or taping a banana to it.
Yes, there would be a certain, I don't know, not criteria by any means,
We're talking about politics, so I feel like
but that's more of a like grading rubric, and it wouldn't be rewarding any sort of art like that.
so there's a standard.
Correct.
I was just curious.
Same way, yeah.
Yeah. I remember in art for me,
Not standard for submission, but standard for like I don't know, if there is a point.
Work those kinks out.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying because when I took art, when I made a project, my teacher knew that I was artistically inclined. So my classmates would draw like a peach, which was just like an orange circle with like green at the top.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, wow, good job, and give him an A. And I would do something else and she would give me a 0 because she knew, oh, well, Aaron's good at art.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious because it's very subjective, right? So if you're meshing the two of physical performance and art, I was just curious what.
So the realistic way I was looking at like doing it was having it on site. The painting would be done on site, like in one thought.
Almost like a Hell's Kitchen.
No, no, no. Like they could be like the canvas can be completely only seen by them, um, and they can have headphones on or whatever. They can be completely like separated from the physical environment, immediately around them. But yeah, something like just
A voting booth.
no, no, no,
No?
open.
Open.
Yeah, open. Voting booth. No.
Okay. So
I want to show the process. I want people to see the process. I think people kind of think about these artistic crafts like playing guitar, whatever it is, and like they just don't even fathom what goes into like the start of a painting or like what you know what I mean. I don't know things like that. So maybe it would be cool to showcase the canvas to the audience as well. Maybe that would be important. Maybe have it flipped where there's a screen showing the audience and then where the person themselves is the only one seeing it like visually. Um, but yeah, I think like showing, yeah, I don't know, showing firsthand the expression of individuals and like making it more accessible to them because you're showing them firsthand. That's the main, I guess, objective of like the whole lifting.
because people just see the end.
I think because again, if you like, if someone makes a painting and they truly make a painting, it's like I don't know, it's like not to get that deep about it, but it's like there's a piece of them in that painting, right? So like you are watching someone take a piece of them and like really use it. And it's the same thing like if I was talking about in terms of the Olympic weightlifting where it's like you're breaking them down to see like their grit. It's like you're seeing them at a primal state. And it's like I think seeing people in that state, not seeing people at their best tip top shape of like, oh my God, you know, and still not referring to CrossFit either, like a different type of primal state that a person goes into doing these lifts and what they have to like.
Just different types of primal state. Like there could be a physical or more of an expressive primal state. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, primal just meaning truest self, not
Yes.
caveman.
But it could be.
If caveman is, yeah, maybe caveman is your pure self. So fuck, yeah. I feel like mine is, yeah.
Yeah. But you said also, you said like playing guitar. So
Yeah.
when you say art,
You
and then
play
you,
guitar.
yeah, but so when you say art, though, you mean art like a canvas.
Art can be anything now. Like we could open it up to making music and things too, but that's broader.
It's very broad.
Yeah, and the measurements.
We're doing all kinds of weird shit.
It would be, and so like I'm not
Very primal,
some
weird shit.
slam poetry thing, you know. Yeah, so we'll think about that. I would like there to be some musical performance though, not from necessarily some like local artist, but like if there was any chance,
That shit'll get weird.
it would be. But like I think it should be some sort of celebratory gathering of pushing yourself to excel beyond like your present self. You know, I don't know why that's not really that cool. It's like I feel like the whole rush into bodybuilding and everything became like an incredibly vain pursuit just because of the role models that people were looking at. And like it's cool that, you know, people still got into it and everything and got more fit and in shape and everything. But I think if like, yeah, because I don't know, the climb I've had or the journey I've had with Olympic weightlifting has been such a like self-reflective and just ego destroying like journey that I think is a very important journey for any man to make. And that's why I like I try not to let my ego go crazy, but like I look at so many kids and from just the look in their eyes, I can tell they don't even all right, yeah. It's just like they don't know even a fraction of what like a tough day would be or a bad day would be. And it's like you can see it in their eyes. I feel like I'm
They're pussies.
yes. Yes.
And don't take this the wrong way. I'm just curious where you're. No,
Oh.
no, I didn't say that. I put words in my mouth. I said what I'm going to say is you said people get into bodybuilding. It's a vain pursuit.
The
And
recent
yeah,
influx.
hold on. But so of course, yes. But I guess my question to you is don't you feel like, and I'm not talking about recreational bodybuilding like somebody who's just taking juice and getting
Talking about
bigger.
somebody that go to Olympia and shit.
Yeah, do you
Just
feel
do
like that's also a journey that requires somebody to kind of dig to that point, or
the
not
good
really?
one.
Well, you talked about like somebody just challenging their ego, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think anything, and that's why I have an admiration for so many crafts that have nothing to do with each other because it's like just seeing someone who is so focused on being good at something, there's nothing but respect I have for that person because it's all the same game. It's all the same tricks and lessons we're learning, just attributed to different things, pursuits that we're in. And that's why, like, yeah, salute to everybody that's on the same path because you can tell they're on that same, you know, like you can tell, and it's sick.
Yeah, well, to get to the high level of anything, I think a lot of people get into these types of things to feed their ego.
Correct. At the beginning, there could be very much like maybe a facetious beginning, but if you really stick with it and become something, and like I don't know, it becomes you. You have to have I think, a stronger backbone than like.
You'll be broken many times.
Yes, yeah. You got to build up with something stronger than that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I can't think of really anything that isn't that way.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. It's so similar. Everything is, and it's like everything is, everything is. That's why I just
Yeah.
no.
Well, yeah, to do things as a recreational hobby is fun. To do something at a high level past that and to really excel at it, it goes far beyond what is fun, and it can almost be torturous at times. Like, and you're really gonna have to dig deep, and you'll learn a lot about yourself for sure.
Yeah. Anky Johnson, this guy used to play at Tennessee, was this, I think he was a cornerback, and um, he was projected like first round draft pick. He knew it. A game was going on. They already won. Like he didn't need to be in the game. I think he, play happens, pass happens, and it wasn't even his guy that he goes up and makes a tackle with. But they end up going head up, and he just blacks out after that. And he ended up getting some like I can't remember the name of some nerve or artery cut off out of his arm, and lost the use of his left arm. Excuse me. And he is such a strong-willed motherfucker. Like I found him when I was 13. And I just like one side quote about him. He did this. He said when he found out he wanted to go to the NFL, he went to his big cousin tomorrow one night, and he said, "Listen, we're going to be patient. We're going to engage in consistent action. We're going to race every night, light pole to light pole." And then eventually, a coach saw him and signed him up for organized sports and all this, whatever. But to be patient and engage in consistent action, I took that and I was like, that's gold right there. I like that. But so he lost his left arm, and he was talking about how like he thought at first maybe he didn't think it was unfair because he understood it very soon after it happened, and like understood the lessons in it. But he was talking about how like if you want anything good, you have to understand that like the amount of bad that could happen is building up alongside that just as much. And it's like, okay, let's go. And like when I got injured in 2018, that's exactly what I experienced. It was just like, yeah, peekaboo, like yeah, shit could go bad real quick just because, like, just it's that day, you know. And I remember that day like nothing. And I'm sure he remembers that day like nothing. And mine's far less severe than his shit was for sure. But just like, yeah, you have to be like just willing to know that you're betting everything on this thing and it might not work out. But Jim Carrey has this great quote about how his father failed at being, I think, like a salesman or something like that. And he could have been a great comedian. And he said you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well go for what you do want. And I made that decision in college, and then I haven't looked back since, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say it's like driving a car, right? If you crash at 30 miles an hour, it's not going to be so bad, right? If you crash at 180 miles an hour, probably going to die, right?
Seatbelts on or no?
Well, it's going to be a lot more damaging, right? The faster you go, like the higher level you perform at,
Yeah.
the more risks you
Yeah.
take. And
That's the
that's
fun in it, though. That's the value in it. That's all of it, though. That's everything. That's the juice.
it's
That's the
everything. And I
juice.
think, but people have to understand, like, just to go back to that
Oh,
analogy,
yeah,
like
yeah,
if you go, I'm not into racing, but like there's a pit stop.
yeah,
They have to stop in there and get fixed up
yeah,
multiple times during the race
yeah,
because they're getting fucked up,
yeah,
right? Like if you're going to take it to that high
yeah,
level,
yeah.
you will have problems.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say 75 to 85% of the time I go to the gym, I got some shit in the back of my mind. I'm thinking this might be the last time I work out. Just because it's like one, I have like I guess insecurity just from the past injury because I didn't feel anything like coming. It just happened. And now when anything slight happens, I'm like, oh yeah, I get too worried about it. But yeah, and it becomes nothing obviously because your brain just makes it out to be. Your brain wants you to be so comfortable, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Once you get some momentum,
Oh, once you get some momentum, it wants more and more and more. Yeah, it's just fucking hungry, bro. It's funny how that is. It just needs that push. Yeah, for real.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because if you stop, sorry. If you stop, it's like you can really just stop.
Yeah,
You know?
once you lose momentum, it's I always say this about when you see people who are like in their 60s
Yeah.
and they look like they're in great shape,
Yeah.
You ever like, what do you do? They're like, I just never stopped. And then you see people who are like 40 and they're a wreck.
Yeah, bro.
And they're like, yeah, I'm old now.
No, bullshit. Getting old isn't a fucking thing.
But
It's
they
not an
but they
illness.
stopped is my point.
Exactly.
That's
No,
why they're
exactly.
old.
But what they tell themselves is like, oh, I'm just getting old. That's what happens when you hit 30. It's like, bitch, no. That's what happens when you hit 30. Like,
If you stop treading water, you drown.
exactly. Exactly. God. Bro. That's the craziest thing to me. And why people don't like that's all right. Like I was talking about how the influx of interest was facetious, but it's like people's perspective from the outside, I guess, like has such a it rubs them like it's so facetious, and it's like if they were to understand the internal whatever that occurs, like that is what I'm in it for, like because I don't know, Jordan Peterson had this thing where he talked about if you expose your brain to new amounts of stress, you unlock new neural pathways, and it can occur during like exercise. And that's why I do so much pause squats and shit like that because I just feel like that creates the most amount of tension ever, and that no science to back this up at all. This is my brain, but yeah, I kind of forgot where I was going with that, but I just think like that's my main pursuit in it is like I feel like I'm meditating every time I'm doing weight like that. Like I don't know, I don't feel my body. I just feel like I'm this like energy field and I'm just moving weight through space. Like dude, I become so quick now. Those after I got those Captain Crushers and I've just been using them on a daily. I feel like the rip off the floor has so much torque and then it's just up.
Up and away.
Dude.
Yeah. So do you feel like that's what separates people who just do things recreationally and people who take things to a high level as in here, hold on to me.
I think they have to have something missing in them a little bit,
For sure.
or they have to have some sort of deep strive for something. If it's not missing, they
Deep
have to
strive for
see
something usually comes from some inadequacy though.
It could be, but it doesn't have
To some degree.
Okay, maybe it is 100%. I wouldn't say it is, but maybe it is.
I feel like most people I've met that are a high level have a lot of screws loose. Or some extra shit screwed in there. I don't know how you want to put it, but
I think they're more perceptive to things, and they're more like, yeah. No, I think their spectrum of like their observatory, their spectrum of observatory, if that's a thing, is wider and greater, and so it's harder to, I don't want to juxtapose these two at all, but like a soldier coming back from war, because we talk about it's like we go to this extent of like this thing that we're doing, and to go talk to somebody who I don't want to say anybody specifically to talk down on anybody, but just someone who had had I don't want to talk down on anybody. I don't know how to say anybody, but like, you know, a lethargic 30-year-old person who doesn't have anything going on, like they don't understand the brain the way we do. You know what I mean? Like they haven't seen that side of their brain. They don't know that part of themselves.
yeah, it's like somebody who grew up in the same town and never left, maybe.
Small town mindset. Yeah, same thing. Correct. Yeah.
And sure.
Yeah, correct. Because it's just like, yeah, the walls that they live in. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. They haven't pushed themselves outside of that boundary, or we call it comfort zone.
That's why I was lucky I played football in high school, bro. That shit's like switched my shit way upside down. I was playing Call of Duty 24/7, bro. Legit 10 prestige, bro. Like my buddies used to laugh. I had the most time played. I had like a month played on that fucking video game, bro. And then I was like, damn. And like, when they would laugh, I'd like would look at it and I'd be like, this isn't that good. Like I know that. Like if this goes on later on, this isn't a good life I want for myself. And so then I joined the football team and then learned how to clean, and I was just good. Could squat. Dude, my max when I squatted in senior year was at 450, and the only other kid was Tanner Rao. And Tanner Rao is this D lineman who was like 260, 240, and I was like 150, 160.
Big boy.
Dude, yeah, it was so funny. But dude, yeah, yeah, it was sick. Like I'm happy as fuck. I learned that I was strong, and like because that's what taught me I was good at something. Because I was good at video games. I was super good at video games. I could have been like one of those guys twitching and all that shit, like streaming, but like I'm so fucking happy I learned I was good at that. Because even though like, girls or whatever, like rewards most people would maybe want from like doing something, like don't really come from doing Olympic weightlifting. It's like that shit has been so much more fucking fun, and doing it all on my own. Fuck yeah.
Well, nothing really comes from one thing or another, I don't feel like, right?
What do you mean?
You're like, girls don't come from Olympic weightlifting.
Correct. Yeah, the character you develop while you're doing the thing is the thing that attracts anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
But some people would think, when you're young, you
yeah,
kind
there's
of
some
think
things that
like, oh,
look
if I do
sexy.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like these guys get the girls, like you always,
Yeah.
like, we always have that idea as a little boy. I feel.
Sure. You want to keep going, or you want me to?
Yeah, this is cool. I like this. At least for my YouTube, I don't know if you want to put it on yours. You can put it on yours.
Let's see. Let's see.
Oh. We could definitely like wrap it up. These are good lessons.
Okay.
But I'm so happy. I feel so much more natural. Thank you, dude.
You changed.
I was
warmed up.
tweaking.
Yeah, you were.
Dude, I was at my house after. Huh?
When you were first sitting there.
Say it again?
When you were first sitting there.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know, dude. I came home from deadlifting 550, and I was just like, Mom, like, I don't like this at all. And she's like, dude, Jake, you're gonna go move in with the kid that like is like one of your best friends, and like actually like always has looked out for me, been my guy, like
Yeah.
no bullshit, which is so rare. And
Worst case scenario is not that bad, anyways.
moving,
Yeah, if you move like,
oh for sure,
because if
because
you,
I've been missing the beach so bad. Sorry,
no, you're fine.
I've been missing the beach so bad. Sunlight D is so important. I used to work out, go right to the beach, and I swear, I don't know if it was just the size I would develop, or if it was just, it could have just been the aesthetics of being tan and having like more,
Vitamin D.
yeah. Honestly, I think the vitamin D really helped with the definition and things like that. Really, and like, yeah, like I think about it, it's just drastically different. Like it fills you up, and like I don't know, my dumb ass always thinks about it, and it's just like, well, Jake, think about how every single thing in nature grows and like operates on sunlight. That's what everything eating is getting from what they're eating is sunlight energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, why the fuck would we not want sunlight energy?
No, it's true.
Yeah, I know you can overload on it.
Of course, right? Just like anything else that makes you happy.
But can
most things that make you happy, you can absolutely overload.
Well, vitamin D doesn't make you happy, does it?
Sun does, though. But
sun does.
Yeah, because if people, there's like winter depression. It's like people aren't in the sun, right? And they sell those lamps that are they call them happy lamps. That's it simulates sunlight.
Yeah.
Right, for people that want it but don't want to go.
I heard if you wake up right away and look, or like if that's the light you wake up to, it's better for you.
There's something about the sun going into your eyes. I heard something about that. This is way off topic.
Let's go.
But that sunglasses contribute to skin cancer. Not trying to be a buzzkill here, but something about,
I got one brand of it already.
Something about that the sun, like when the sun enters your eyes, and I don't really know enough to tell you the intricacies of it.
I could see it.
But when the sun enters your eyes, it releases something in your body that kind of protects your skin. So when people wear sunglasses,
that's so fucking interesting. Of course, like there's a natural reaction because your body's like, oh, I'm outside now, and it's like, let me do this.
Pretty weird, right?
Only, let me ask you this though: is it only polarized, or is that UV light?
You're gonna have to look it up. I
was it UV light that caused that?
I would have to look it up again. I'm speaking on something that I don't know a lot about, but I did hear about it, and I was like, that does kind of make sense.
Yeah. That is interesting. But I literally just took it from. I took honestly a lot. Like I don't know, Bruce Lee said this thing about like don't ever just follow, and that's why I think a stigma, not stigma, I don't know, a widespread problem seems to be is that like people are following schools of thought to the T, when it's like there's merit to this, like maybe if there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's like A, B, and C had some good stuff in it, so let's like take that, but they go through A to Z, and follows like the whole script. When it's like Bruce Lee would say, take what you like and what works for you from this, take that and make it your own. And it's like that's what I did, and I feel like that's what a lot of people don't do. They, especially with Olympic weightlifting, just because of the programming and the structure that most people structure post the structure most people use when trying to progress. If there's X amount of programs, and generally, uh, if it's not a main one, like a main, like one out of 20, it's a derivative of, and then with a little sprinkle of something else.
I think it's because people are lost, though, right? Because when people are lost, they're looking for
Correct. Yeah.
an ultimate truth. Then so
You go
then
so deep and ultimate. God,
because you start to see things as either all the way black or white,
yeah.
when the truth is that everything.
Because they don't have any source of where land is, and so they want to know exactly what the land is, where it is.
Everything is a little bit gray. Like everything is a little bit right and a little bit wrong.
Yeah, and that's like kind of the edge I was talking about, like living on.
And what might be 100% right for me is not 100% right for you.
Absolutely.
So that's why, yeah, like you're saying, it's like, and I think that comes with time in a craft, right? Mm-hmm. And you look up to different people in your craft, and you say, I like what this person does. I like what I see what this person do. And then sometimes even outside of your craft, you can find inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
I was watching a tennis player, can't remember his name, and I feel so bad about that, but he was talking just about it's I think he was just talking about what it takes to be a winner. He was number one for like years and years. And he was just talking about it was focus. It was how much focus can you create on the thing you're doing right now. And it's like that's like but it's as oxymoronic as it is, it's like as much focus as you need to have on it, it's just as much like like separation from yourself that you need to have. Because like I would say even people I've heard, and this is not my space to talk on, but people who have been in combat situations talk about how when they're in there, if they were to make a decision from like, being whatever, like if they're in a hallway and they're getting shot, if they were to make a decision from that situation, like they're going to make the wrong decision that's based off of like the situation that's happening. But if they're able to kind of pause and like take themselves out of the situation, see what's going on rationally, and then make a decision, they're able to like, make the correct decision then.
Right, that's why they train through those scenarios. So
yeah.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
And I think a lot of things with Olympic weightlifting is like, I don't know. I just think people look at the movements incorrectly. It's like you should viciously kind of rip that thing off the floor, and everybody kind of slowly gets into
more violence.
Yeah. Bad intentions.
Violence solves everything, doesn't it?
No. But controlled violence is a spectacle.
But that's still violence, right?
Yes, but it's controlled. Yeah. That's what makes it beautiful. That's what human beings like to see.
Yeah, that's very true. People like to see violence and pain and suffering.
Yeah. Or they like to see the byproduct of pain and suffering.
The whole deal.
Yeah. But people don't necessarily love to see how the sausage is made, right? So there's an extent. They don't want to see that.
What do you mean by that?
Like the movies that show you how food's made and shit like that, like the real in-depth stuff.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah,
that's different than watching somebody fall down the stairs or like tear a muscle. People don't like to. I think people like to see pain in another person. They don't like to feel like they're eating a living thing a lot of times, right? They don't want to feel like they're involved in it.
Yeah, bro. Accountability is something crazy.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. That's kind of why I do the dress shoes and slacks, though. It's just like, even when I was a kid, I remember in French class, I told my teacher, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing because I didn't. And I was just like, I just know I'm going to be in suits. Like, I'm going to be dressing like they did in like the 40s and things. And, well, not the Depression, but like, I don't know. Like that, just slacks and like a button.
Those vibes.
Yeah.
Depressed vibes.
I just think we kind of lost sight in the value of tradition I understand tradition can lead to toxic structures, but I think the right traditions do breed good things societally, and I think we've kind of lost a lot of sight on that.
I would say so.
Yeah.
You want to have any parting words?
Uh, no, not really. I'm good. I had a good day. I'm moving to Jacksonville soon, real soon. Kind of nervous, but it's cool.
It's gonna be all right.
Shout out Keegan Shaman, my brother. I love you. I'll see you soon.
Hell yeah.
Everybody else will too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Stay tuned.